Today on Tricrow Studios, we take a look at my new home studio. So I'm going to try and take you on the best type of a tour that I possibly can here. But for those of you who do not know, I moved. So basically my wife and I bought our first home. We were very, very, very fortunate, especially for the size of home that we purchased. The old home studio that I had was basically 1.5 rooms. So I had like a main room, which is smaller than the room that I'm in now. And I had half of an open space in another. And basically that was just for my amps and a microphone or two. But now, we're fortunate enough to have a new home, and I have basically the whole basement. So I have this main room here. I have an amp/guitar storage, which is a lot bigger than the other one. I have a closet that kind of is under the stair storage, which I have a whole bunch of foot switches and stuff like that. And then I have what is eventually going to be a bathroom, so I can poop there. And also I have a furnace room, which I'm using that for case storage. Okay, so let's start out in what may be a little bit of familiar territory for you. So we have the same old desk, the Zauer, I think it's Zauer Vision W, which I still absolutely love. The only thing I would honestly want to replace it with would be possibly the Zauer Maestro series, but I don't have enough rack gear for that yet. We'll see. We have the same old iMac. This thing's like 7 or 8 years old. I'll eventually replace it, but I'm waiting for Apple to roll out a few other things. And we have the same old 4 amp heads at my feet, and yes, I am always a little paranoid over possibly kicking the tri-amp. Not gonna happen though. And of course we have like the side desk racks with the rack drawers in them. I'm very fortunate enough to have a little more storage in this studio, so these rack drawers are not crammed to pieces. Next up, one thing that I really wanted to mention, and one thing that I'm very, very fortunate to have, and I really regretted not having this in the previous studio. So in the previous studio, you saw right behind my monitors, behind my iMac and such, you basically saw a poorly painted concrete wall with some room treatment on it. For a little while, it kind of looked cool because it was a little bit of a change for me. But it was basically this much space from monitor to wall, which I really regretted. But behind this desk now, because there's, I want to say alcove, but it's not an alcove, I have no idea. So I have basically like a little space that goes in like that. And by little, it's like a couple of feet, which is very nice. So instead of having like this much space from monitor to wall, I have like this much space from monitor to wall. And I was able to put more room treatment behind my monitors and my screens and everything, which is very, very nice. However, definitely nailed me in the wallet because I did have to order some more Prime Acoustic London kits. I got another London 8 and a London 10. The London 10 is still on the way. For the benefit of those who are unfamiliar with the channel and really do want to know what gear that I'm using, especially since this is a home studio tour, basically I've been a Universal Audio Apollo user since about, it was like 6 or 8 months after they came out. So I'm highly invested in that ecosystem, so it's not something that I would change. And I really do enjoy the Universal Audio stuff as well. But right here we have a Universal Audio 16B So this is the Mark II version. It's also a quad core. And then we have a Universal Audio UAD2 satellite, which is the Octo, so that's 8 cores. So we're pushing 12 right now. And of course, because I'm lazy, didn't want to set things up properly here, I have the Universal Audio Apollo Twin, which is a duo that is also the Mark I version. So I think that's Thunderbolt 1 rather than Thunderbolt 2. Really wish they'd allow you to get the upgrade cards for your Apollo Twins and your satellites. Because if I were to upgrade everything, I would have to buy everything brand new rather than just buying the card slots, which I did with the prior Apollo. I also use Neumann. This is an NDH20. Those are my headphones. And I also have, you can kind of see right here, I have Neumann KH120s. Those are not the 80s. I got one of the 120s is actually from not right when they came out, but a little while after. And then one of them actually died, so last summer I had to buy a brand new one, which is the one that's not on screen right now. That's really all that that really needs to be said. I mean, other than the fact that I'm a 500 series module user, so if I pop out here, you can actually see I have a Vintech Audio VA573. Just basically, I use that for all of my guitar recording. And when I'm not in the mood for that, and I feel like I need a little bit of a variation or a little bit of a change up, then I will go to my API 512C. And then I basically have another 1073 clone in the Golden Age Projects pre-573, and then the 512C clone from Warm Audio, which is the WA12. I used to have a lot more rack gear and a few more modules, but I kind of dumbed things down for myself a little bit with the idea of completely changing things up, and I'm still in that process, so I'll let you know if I change things up. So here we are on another side of the, or another wall in the main room for the studio. So my desk is right over there. The whole idea of this studio was a little more accessibility for myself, a little more room. So basically that meant, because I own 42 guitars, it's not a brag, a lot of them are cheap. A lot of them are cheap on purpose, and then I dumped $500-600 into each. But I wanted to have something where I had immediate access to the guitars that I use the most, and currently that ends up being the Gibson guitars that I own. So I have one rack here that has 8 Gibson Les Pauls of varying degrees, and I have 2 Gibson SGs, again, varying degrees. Then I have a Gibson Firebird Traditional and 2 Gibson Flying Vs. It ends up being that this is mostly my US-made guitars, because I also have a Fender American Standard Stratocaster and a Fender American Standard Telecaster. And then just off camera a little bit, you can kind of notice the headstock there, which is my LTD KH602. I also have my Martin D35 hanging up on the wall. You just can't see it here. So here we are on the other side of my room. So my desk is over there now. So again, as I spoke of before, I wanted to have kind of immediate accessibility to the things that I use the most. So that means I needed access to all of my amp heads. Again, in the previous studio, it was just, there was barely any room for me to move around. And I had to get multiple camera angles. It wasn't really a possibility. So the other side of my room, so that side over there, the one you previously saw, was all the guitars, or the main guitars. And this side here, I basically wanted to have a row of amp heads that didn't get in the way of like any type of reflection or that much of reflection from my monitors. So every single one of these are, my monitors sit up about here. So we got a little bit of room from the reflection, and of course we have some sound treatment there. So the whole idea again was to have a rack of amp heads, or a row of amp heads here. So move out of the way, and you can actually see there's my 6505 Plus, the Mesa Nomad, Mesa F100s. We got the JCM 2000, the JCM 900, the DSL 100, the Trainer Custom Special 100 Mark II version, the Legacy 2 from Carvin, and the Fender Supersonic. Over in the other corner there, which I'm not sure, I probably won't show it on camera, maybe I will quickly, but I have my 3 Mark heads, so my Mark V, my Mark IV, and my Mark IIB. So again, there's plenty of room in this studio, especially compared to the old one, and I have expandability. So basically I'm waiting on 3 amp heads, Rivera Knucklehead 120, Trey Reverb, it's long to say, and 2 Randall amps, so Diavolo 100 head and the Thrasher 120. By the end of the summer is what I'm being told. But I will have a full rack here, or full row of amp heads. And again, if I wanted to do a shootout between any of them, I just pick them up, put them on my desk, move them around. Very easily accessible, and I'm happy to look at it. I know this looks horrible, but basically this is the back end of my studio here. I have to be a little bit creative with the lighting and everything like that. But here are the 3 Mark heads and my Martin D35, and of course a bass trap in the corner, along with some other room treatment. I do have some panels here on the wall. They really do make a ton of difference. They cost a little more, which sucks for me because I gotta buy them. And I am missing some panels here. I'm still waiting on a Prime Acoustic London 10 kit, but I might throw that whole thing in my amp room that you'll see very shortly. But at the same time, I have my own theater room upstairs, and I might throw it in there. I might be buying a whole bunch more panels. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, this door right here, hopefully at the end of the summer I'll be able to poop in here. And then this door right here, well, I'll show you what's in this door. Okay, so you want to know what was in this room here, or behind this door. So, if I move here, you see I got stairs. This is the under stair closet storage area. Basically, the whole idea for this was, again, functionality. I got rid of most of my pedals, basically almost all of them. Kevin on this channel actually bought them because he's absolutely crazy for pedals. Keep an eye out for pedal videos. But I did want the very few pedals that I am keeping all in one spot, which is up there. And I needed a spot for all of my foot switches for my amp heads. So I basically have 22 amp heads right now, or at least on the way. So I needed storage for those amp heads, or the foot switches for the amp heads. So they're all in one spot here. I also have a little bit of camera gear and lighting stuff, and a giant humidifier. And I got like straps and stuff, and some cables behind the door. This is a closet under my stairs. Give me a break. Okay, so here is my cabinet room and guitar storage. So you're gonna see above there I got a few Flying V's on the wall. I'll probably just end up doing a pan around here and try and fix the lighting. It's definitely a smaller room than the main room. This one is like 10 by 11 or 10 by 12, I believe. And currently I have almost a full London 8 in here, minus 2 panels. There was a lot of reflection in this room, even though I have carpet on the floor. But because the old studio was like, there wasn't even drywall up there. It was just wood, and like old wood. and very thin wood. So it wasn't as reflective as this room, and there was a lot of spots for sound to dissipate, and here there was not. So what I initially wanted to do was put another London 8 kit in the main studio room, and then a London 10 kit in this room. I ended up putting most of the London 8 in here, and I'm probably going to put the whole London 10 in this room, unless I get really crazy and again put the London 10 in my home theater. I might just order another London 10 and a London 8. That's a lot. Anyway, here's the rest of my amp storage, or my head storage. So JVM 410H, Mesa 3-channel 100 watt, so not the multi-watt dual rectifier, and my Marshall Origin 50. I also have Kevin's Paul Reed Smith MT15, which basically, as far as I know, neither of us really like, neither of us really want to use again. Just wish they made it in a higher wattage, and I think like a 50 or 100 watt. Give it a little more low end, a little more oomph to it. So if you really like that amp, if you really like that amp head, it doesn't mean that it's a bad amp, that we don't like it. It's just not something that suits us. It's just, we're using it wrong. I don't care. Anyway, the whole idea for this room here, again, for guitar storage and cabinets, this cabinet here is the fabled 212 vertical Mesa cabinet that Kevin bought like 4 or 5 years ago from me, and I basically just forgot to make a video on it. So I want to make one video just on the cabinet, and then 1 or 2 just doing a comparison with the other cabinets, and then I'm gonna find a box big enough, and then it's probably gonna cost me like $300, but I'll ship it out to Kevin. But I do have the Mesa oversized 412 slant cabinet and the Marshall 1960A cabinet, and a Neumann TLM 107. I want to get a few more cabinets. I'm not sure which ones just yet. But I also want to get at least one more Neumann TLM 107. That microphone just really fits me, and it just captures all the frequency. It just sounds so stupid when you say it. I feel a lot more comfortable with this microphone than with an SM57. I haven't used my SM57, my E609, or my i5 in years, just because this kills it. And I actually ended up selling Kevin my TLM 103 just because it's a little more, there's a little more high end to it. It doesn't capture the lows and the mids as nicely as the 107. Yeah, I'm going to pan around this room here. This is why studio tours are sometimes hard to do, because you've got lights in the way. But here we can see, got 3 Rhodes, Jackson Rhodes on the wall. 5 King V's, whether they're Jackson, Dean, or LTD. My 7-string Rhodes here. That's the room treatment. Then I have a rack of just 7 strings. I only have 6 7-strings now, because that one's on the wall. And then over here, which is horribly painted black. I painted this whole room too, so there's some mistakes up there. But I have 2 other, like a Rhodes and that Cort VX4V, I think it's called. And then another rack of random guitars. This room here would be all of my import guitars. And my cabinets. Right there. And a couple of chairs. And some LED lighting that my daughter helped me put up, and she likes just coming in here and turning it on and turning it off and changing the colors. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the video. hopefully it was exciting to see finally a different space. For this channel, this would be my third studio space. First one was basically, well, it wasn't basically, it was just a living room in a condo. Then the second studio was a basement, so a room and a half a room from a rented townhouse, and now this studio here, which is basically it's 2 rooms, but I do have I have a furnace room and I have a that I'm using for storage, like guitar case storage. I have the storage closet underneath the stairs, which I just absolutely love, even though it's boring. And then I have a future place to poop once I, get flooring, some stuff for the walls. I got a toilet though. We're good. But this studio, to me, so far, we've been here a month, and it's very intimidating. I really do. Most times when I'm down here, I feel like it's too good for me, and it just really hasn't sunk in yet that this space is mine. It really, really, really fits almost all of my needs. I mean, there's always, you still have to be kind of wanting more, but I find it a little intimidating down here, and with new neighbors and stuff like that. I really wanted to make sure that I got all the room treatment, and there's not a lot of sound bleed from this basement into like the neighbors, but there's a little bit, and I kind of want to nip that in the bud before I start kind of going really, really crazy, because I don't play at low volumes, I play at loud volumes. Not crazy, crazy loud, but loud. So I will be making more videos. It probably won't be that big of a time jump here, but there is the possibility that Kevin may do a few weeks of videos, maybe a month. I doubt it, but I did want to get this home studio tour out of the way because it would give me a little more time and give him a little bit of a break. But I still, like I said, I have 3 amp heads on the way. I have the Gibson Les Paul Standard 60s, the Gibson Les Paul Tribute, and this one's in the Satin Iced Tea. And I have the toggle switch poker chip coming in the mail. I don't know if I'm going to have to solder, like put a new toggle switch in, because sometimes, they're not long enough to put the poker chip in there. And I also have a Gibson SG61 standard, or standard 61. I can't remember which way it goes. But this guitar I actually bought, we moved on a Friday. I bought it the Tuesday. The Tuesday before we took possession of the house. And in all honesty, it drove me nuts that I bought it before we moved in, because even though we were very far under budget for our mortgage and everything like that, I thought maybe I was stupid in buying this right before. So I had numerous panic attacks about this guitar, but it feels very comfortable, and I will be doing, because it's just basically the same everything except for the body and neck and everything, as the Les Paul Standard 60s, so I'll definitely do a shootout between those two, and then I might just end up doing a whole bunch of Les Paul shootouts as well. So anyway, I do, like I said, and I also have the Legacy 2, so I have a whole bunch of gear to make new videos with. It's just I think I have to take a little bit of time to kind of pause and relax. With the fact that I'm a homeowner now, and get certain things done that need to be done. I had to mount an 85-inch TV on the wall, and that took, I believe, 3 weeks. It was like 2 or 3 weeks, and it was, hey, we're gonna come and give you a hand putting that TV on the wall, and then we're coming tomorrow, and then it was, how much was the TV again? Oh, I can't make it. And it was a tough thing. you know, like there's so many things when you buy a house that you're not quite sure on, and you end up just dumping a whole bunch of money in different areas. Um, there was nothing really cosmetically or structurally that we had to do. Luckily, we bought a really good house, but man, I like mowing my lawn now a lot, and it's things you can put outside, and they cost a lot of money. Take time. So I think I need to relax a little bit. So Kevin, I know you're watching this video. I'll probably give you maybe 3 weeks worth of videos. So that's something to, you know, if you're highly into pedals, maybe keep an eye open for. And then I'll probably come back just hands a thrashing with a whole bunch of different new videos. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm going to probably look around in my studio for a little bit because it's still hasn't sunk in yet. Thanks for watching.